So guys, today guys, we'll be reacting to his story. And guys, this he's like one of the fastest channel to get a lot of subscribers. But guys, we're gonna start from his latest to all the way until we're done. So like, this is this video. So let's go.
My boss
Again, no, that one's way too
tried to
long.
fire my coworker with anger issues, and the company is still recovering from the damage. He slammed a folder onto Zach's desk, and the first line read, "Your current position has been terminated, effective immediately." Zach went red. He'd given 10 years, missed his daughter's birthdays, and worked
Wait, this was 44 minutes ago. Wait, what?
every weekend. Our boss
Wait, no, what is the description? This may be based on real events, but names, details. Wait, what? This actually might be a real story. This actually might be a
So,
real
what do you
story.
think? But Zach just slammed the folder on the desk so hard his coffee spilled across the boss's jacket. I think screw you. He kicked his chair over. The whole office stopped typing to look. I missed my daughter's birthdays for you. My wife almost left me. The boss put his hands up. Just hear me out. But Zach talked over him. No, you hear me. Not once did anyone in this building recognize what I beep. Zach was cut off by the photocopier. He looked over at it, and just Zach completely lost it. He shoved the photocopier off the table, smashing on the floor. Paper went everywhere. Our boss tried again. Are you sure you read the whole Zach got right
Dang! Is he so mad? Bro, Christ might have anger
in the boss's
issues.
face? Don't talk to me like I'm stupid. You're a snake. He grabbed his nameplate off
He just called his coworker. This is definitely not based on a real true story. No, this is based on a real true
the
story,
desk and
guys.
threw it in the boss's face. I gave you everything, and you gave me nothing. Then he stuck his middle finger in his face
Editor blur that.
and waved it. He turned to the rest of us. If any of you have a brain and don't want to be treated like this, you'll follow me out. He started packing his things, but the office was dead silent. Our boss stood there, completely calm, pointing to the folder on the floor. Zach, flip the page. Zach looked down, red in the face. He picked it up and flipped. And because your old position is terminated, we are promoting you to Senior Vice President of Operations. You will be relocating to a different branch to allow more time for your daughter. The number beside it was triple what Zach was making. He looked up at the boss, surrounded by spilled coffee, a smashed keyboard, a broken photocopier, and the bruise on his face. Does the offer still stand? My boss tried to fire my coworker with anger issues. I woke up at 4 a.m. to screaming from my son's room, but when I walked inside, I instantly started coughing. My 15-year-old Jacob was smoking cigarettes.
Guys, please, never smoke. Guys, never smoke, never vape, never do that. That's bad for your lungs. That you gotta know you guys can die from that. So kids out there, do not vape. Do not vape, kids. But guys, why my face comes so okay, now my face comes better.
And loudly gaming with his buddies. I didn't even know he smoked, so I crossed the room with my breath held and unplugged his
Whoa.
PlayStation. You're going to bed. We'll talk about the smoking tomorrow. But he turned to me with these manic eyes and screamed, "Give me back my PlayStation." He put his cigarette out on my arm, and I immediately backed up as it burned. Okay, we're seriously having a talk. I walked out of his room and locked him in for the night while he screamed, "You'll regret this." Next morning, I was waiting downstairs to talk, but Jacob stormed down with a stack of papers and dropped them on the table. "I'm suing you. I want emancipation and $5,000 in legal damages." My stomach twisted as I picked up the papers, and when I looked up, he was lighting a cigarette. "That's right. I don't want you to be my dad anymore."
If I was his dad, get slapped. Sorry, I don't I don't know what I'm doing. I don't condone violence. But let's
He
go.
blew the smoke at my face and walked
He's doing bad
out.
stuff.
That evening, Jacob yelled at me from his room, "Dad, I need $200 to hire a lawyer for the court." I laughed because I still didn't think he was serious. But that night, I woke up to something rustling in my room. My eyes shot open, and I saw Jacob going through my wallet. My heart shattered seeing my own son stealing from me, but I just pretended to be asleep, then slid my phone over and pressed record. He tiptoed out with all $300 from my wallet, but I had the evidence. 2 weeks later, I stood in court as Jacob Fake cried on the stand that I'm abusive and he's scared of me. I don't want him to be my dad, and I want $5,000 for emotional damages. He pointed at me like I was an animal. My hands shook, and I pulled out the video of him stealing my money, but he began screaming before the judge could even look at it. See? He records me without my consent. That's the abuse I'm talking about. My stomach sank as the judge looked at Jacob. You believe you can care for yourself? Jacob smirked. Better than that faker ever could. I felt my whole body go cold because those words hurt so much. But that's when the judge smiled at me. In that case, emancipation granted. He banged his gavel, and Jacob immediately jumped out of his seat, cheering and throwing both middle fingers in
What is wrong with his story throwing up the
my
middle
face.
finger?
But then the judge kept talking. This means, Jacob, that from today, you pay your own rent, food, and legally follow every rule your father gives you since he's now your landlord. Your first $1,000 rent payment is due in a month. My son's arms dropped mid-celebration. Wait, I don't have any money. But the judge shrugged. Fail to pay, and you'll be arrested. This is what you wanted. Jacob's face went pale. No, I don't want to go to jail. Can I reverse the decision? The judge simply shook his head. I walked up to Jacob and put my hand on his shoulder. If I see you light just one cigarette, I'm kicking you out. I expect rent on the first. I walked out while he sobbed in the courtroom and lit up my own cigarette to mock him. I woke up at 4 a.m.
Let's see, why is he doing a cigarette? Can you let's go?
In the 3rd grade, a girl 3 years older than me grabbed my shirt and shoved me face first into a locker. I felt my baby tooth crack, and Rebecca loudly popped her gum in my ear. Meet me behind the hill after school. I'm not letting you get away with shouting at me in the hallway. She pushed me to the ground and walked back to her bully friend.
Huh?
I clutched my cheek shaking because my elementary school was run by 10 girls, all 6th grade bullies. And when you're a 9-year-old boy, that is an Avengers level threat. I thought back to Rebecca breaking my arm earlier this
Breaking his arm? I got hurt. I actually got
year
hurt.
and gulped because I knew I was screwed. But when I saw them during break, taking my classmates' glasses and stomping on them, I got an idea. I waited until they walked away and came up to him while he cried on the floor. I whispered the plan in his ear, and his eyes immediately lit up. We followed them for the entire break, talking to every kid they bullied. When the final bell rang, my heart pounded, and Rebecca locked eyes with me and cracked her knuckles. See you behind the hill. I walked out, my legs shaking. But instead of going up to them, I climbed to the top of the hill. Rebecca's eyes widened as she yelled, "Are you ignoring us? We're breaking both your legs for this." The 10 of them started walking up the hill, their faces twisted and fists clenched, and that's when I made my move. Troops, in positions. Instantly, all 50 boys from my grade came out from behind me, standing atop the hill, including the kid with the broken glasses. Our army stared at the 10 girls. Their smiles dropped, but their eyes widened in rage. "We're still gonna beat you up." But then I pointed and yelled, "Charge!" All 50 of us began sprinting downhill. The girls' faces went pale in fear as they realized 50 mini bowling balls were rushing at them. "We're sorry," Rebecca yelled and turned to run, but it was too late. We began crashing into them, knocking them to the floor and stampeding them. I stepped on Rebecca's hair and plowed into the others, sending them to the dirt. By the time we were at the bottom, all 10 of them were crying in the mud. Their elbows were bent wrong, their hair was ripped and covered in grass, and not a single one was moving. I planted my foot on Rebecca's back and shouted, "Victory!" In the 3rd grade, a girl 3 years the kid next to me squeezed his juice pouch out across my lap and
Are you serious?
started laughing.
Wait,
I'm gonna tell
ew.
every-
Why does it look like doodle?
The kid next to me squeezed his juice pouch out
Ew, guys, that looks like doodle.
across my lap and started laughing. "I'm gonna tell everyone you peed yourself." He slipped out of his seat and drifted toward the door, the pouch still crushed in his fist, and my stomach dropped. All morning, the whole school had been losing it because my favorite footballer was minutes from walking into our room, the striker whose poster hung over my bed. If he saw me like this, I'd be the P kid forever, in front of the one person I'd ever wanted to impress. I shot out of my chair after him, but he was already halfway down the hall, leaning into every kid he passed and jabbing a finger back at me. The whisper moved faster than my legs ever could. "Kid
Well, guys. Alright, guys. If you're gonna get caught, because, guys, he had to juice, how it's still there inside his hands. And squeezed. But I think his plan gonna fail. His plan gonna fail. His plan is definitely gonna fail.
to kid, and catching him wouldn't kill it now. So I ducked into the boys' bathroom, wet a fistful of paper towels, and scrubbed at the stain. But the dark spot only spread paler and wider, soaking deeper the harder I pushed until half my thigh was soaked. A kid shoved in to use the sink, and I twisted toward the wall, but he caught the soaked leg anyway, and was snickering into the hall before the door swung shut. The speaker in the ceiling crackled on, and the principal's voice rolled down the hall. "Everyone, please give our special guest a warm welcome." My hands hand started shaking against my wet leg. That's when I spotted the lost and found bin by the sink with a pair of gray gym pants sitting right on top. I yanked them out and shoved my leg in, hopping on one foot as cheering erupted through the wall. I got them buttoned and shoved through the door bone dry. The footballer was up front mid-wave. Every kid twisted around toward me, and the one who set me up saw his shot. His arm shot out, finger aimed right at me, and he screamed, "Look, he peed himself." But there was nothing there, and every head in the room swung off me and onto him, the footballers with them. Right then, the pouch in that same fist gave out, and the last of it burst down the front of his own pants. Now he was the pee kid for real, and my favorite footballer was laughing harder than anyone. The kid next to me squeezed his juice pouch.
That's revenge. I was kind of wrong, but guys, that's revenge.
You haven't.
I was walking home when someone grabbed me from behind and threw a bag over my head. I screamed into the fabric, but moments later,
That's my fear. Getting caught was I don't know, I never want to go to alleys because alleys are like the most easiest place to get kidnapped. So never going in an alley.
it got ripped off, and I was tied to a chair. A big bald man stood over me. "Where's my $40,000? But I had no idea who he was. "You've got the wrong guy. I have 12 cents in my bank account. Let me go." His
12 cents, bro. That's 12 cents.
face twisted. "I remember your face from the casino. You're not leaving without giving me my money." But I remembered I had my mom's medication in my bag. I yelled, "I need to go home. My mom needs her medication. She can't even walk without her cane." But he scoffed. "I don't care about your mom. You've got until tonight to get me my money, or you're dead." I had no way to get that money, so the second he left the room, I yanked at the rope around my wrists to escape. I twisted and pulled until my skin burned, and one hand started slipping free. But then the door swung open, and he stared right at my wrists, his fists clenched. Trying to escape? I expected him to kill me, but instead, he said, "Your mom needs you home? As a matter of fact, I'll go get her. If I have her captive, you won't try to run again." I screamed, begging him not to as he walked out. But moments later, he came back, pulling my mom by the arm. She leaned on her cane, tiny and shaking. He laughed. She didn't even fight because she's so weak. She walked right out to my car. He pulled her closer. "You've got 1 hour, or you're both dead." Tears streamed down my face. I couldn't give him anything, and now my mom was going to die because of me. "I'm so sorry, Mom." But then she grabbed her chest and collapsed to the floor. I screamed, "Mom!" The bald man's face went confused. "Please help her, she's sick and weak." He rushed over and bent down to check on her. But then her hand tightened around her cane, and she swung it straight into the back of his head. He dropped, and she slipped the loose rope off my wrists and pulled
Mom.
me up. I was shaking as she dialed 911. "Mom, I thought you were too weak to fight," she smiled. He bragged that I didn't fight him, but I didn't fight because I needed him to bring me to you. Then I could take him down myself. Then she whispered, "Also, your dad is the one who owes him the $40,000. I gasped because my dad and I have the same face, and we're both brokies. I was walking home.
Bro. For no reason did that.
A star shot over our backyard telescope, and I grabbed my big sister's pinky. "Promise you'll fly me to see the stars one day." She wrapped her pinky around mine. "Fake sick tomorrow so we don't have to go to school. And while Mom's at work, we're gonna build a rocket together." I nodded. "Okay, sis." The next morning, as soon as Mom left for work, we tore the house apart. I threw cushions into the yard for crash seats. My sis grabbed a dryer hose for fuel, and we both carried out armfuls of tinfoil. She cut me a crooked porthole, and I drew a star on the side so we'd know which rocket was ours up in the sky. She taped crepe paper flames across Mom's box fan, and when she hit the switch, the engine roared like real fire. I tapped her. "Do you think the stars will melt my sneakers?" She went quiet and double knotted my laces instead of answering. At 2:45 p.m., 15 minutes before our mom would be home, we carried our contraption into the square my sister had chalked in the driveway. A garden and a flame ripped out of the engine, and her hands shook the whole time she taped it back. Mom's car turned onto our street, and sis grabbed my helmet strap. "Get in!" She cranked the engine and dove in next to me, and I counted us down with my teeth rattling. At 0, the flames roared, but the driveway stayed right where it was, and my heart started sinking. "Why aren't we flying?" My sister handed me a melatonin sleep pill. "This is the flying part. Astronauts sleep through takeoff. Close your eyes. Take this. It's magical." I listened to her, and within 5 minutes I was fast asleep in our rocket contraption. In my dream, the rocket came to life, and me and my sis shot through the sky into space with our arms out, and she took me to land on the stars. Somewhere far away, I heard Mom's car door, and a blanket came down soft over the both of us. A star shot over.
Guys, W his story, guys. Guys, subscribe to him, guys. I'm gonna subscribe to him, guys. That's such a good channel. But guys, I think that's it for today, guys. That's enough his story for today, guys. But guys, I'm EJ Payne. I'm out. Peace.